Okay, Recons video on Sunday, the 2nd of October 2022. It's just gone 11:42 AM Chicago time. Do hope you are doing well. So apologies if this video is coming to you a little bit late on a Sunday. This is the first day that we've had decent waves in over a week in Biarritz in France. We've had crappy weather all week. It was cold and rainy and windy and no surf at all. But anyway, Sunday comes along, everything kind of brightens up. Wind turns a little bit offshore and we had a swell come in, so looks like the next week's going to be good as well. So that's the reason for the late video, and if I sound a little bit kind of stuffed up, that's just seawater in the system. Anyway, this is the weekend futures market recap, where I go through 15 of the largest futures markets and show you what I am seeing on my charts, and that was quite a week. I'm going to go through the E-mini charts first of all, daily, all the way down to the 15-minute to start with, to just give an overview of what is going on. Really choppy week. I spent most of the week in and out of the E-mini, not taking any kind of long-term positions at all, and I'm flat at the moment, kind of waiting for the Sunday open. But this is the daily charts. This is the more traditional view of the better indicators, where we split it up onto two windows here. Left hand side, everything to do with volume, with better momentum below the price bars, giving us a volume based momentum indicator. And then on the price bars themselves, we got better pro-am, showing us professionals in blue and amateurs in yellow. And then right hand side, everything to do with price, with better sine wave here below the price bars, calculating the cyclical energy in 3 different time frames, and that allows us to plot our support and resistance levels on the price bars themselves, and breaks of those give us uptrends and downtrends. Uptrends and strength shown in red, downtrends and weakness shown in white. So let's look at the daily chart. So I've been crowing on about this for 2 weeks, and this is the cross on the intermediate time frame here. So a couple of weeks ago we reached an inflection point here at 4400. We ran into resistance on the intermediate time frame, having broken into an uptrend when we broke above resistance on the lowest time frame. So the bars kind of turned red here. But then as soon as we break into a downtrend here below support on the lowest time frame, the bars turn white, and we're waiting for the support to come in on this intermediate time frame. Once this one is printed, there's a high probability, and we've moved a good distance away from it, there's a good probability that that support level is going to come in. Timing of which it's due, because we've had a cross on better sine wave here below the price bars, but we haven't had kind of price confirmation to put that in. Now that's on the E-mini. We have had it in a couple of other indices and a couple of other ways of looking at it, whether you look at the futures, the index itself, or the ETF. So we've had some level of support here, but there's a couple of things that are kind of troubling. One is that we've not come with a bullish divergence down here or an exhaustion sell pattern, something to stop the volume going down. We've broken below our previous little pivot low down here, and we got blue professional bars kind of coming in at this point. We have to go down the time frames to kind of interpret where these blue professional bars are actually coming in, but it just means the average trade size is bumped up because the professionals are super active at the moment. Let's go down to the 135-minute chart here, and there's that resistance. On the daily chart it's an intermediate resistance, but on the next time frame down it's a resistance on the highest time frame here. And we ran into trouble when we had all of these Rambo patterns here. Just show you that whole family of these, kind of showing that the amateurs were driving this breakout, and then it was kind of weak because the amateurs are doing all the work, and we kind of crashed down. So we've got some blue professional bars here kind of getting the move going with an exhaustion sell pattern. And what we have not seen so far on the downside is another exhaustion pattern where the professionals kind of pick it up, and then kind of more blue professional bars at lows. I mean, there's a sequence here where they're kind of getting short, and here playing the break, and they're coming in at this point here, but we don't have an exhaustion sell at this point, and we're also below support on the intermediate and lowest time frame on this price chart here. That's not good news, and we're breaking to new lows here, and I'm worried that Tuesday is going to be all hell is going to break loose, and we're going to go see those exhaustion sell patterns, and I have no idea how far down this is going to go. Let us have a look here. I mean, this is an important area of support here. Previously it was an area of support, 36.94 on pro trend here, and we're breaking kind of below those levels at that point. Next kind of level down that we might kind of reach, you know, kind of close to this one, maybe it's down at this kind of 3300 level down here. But we're below support in these two time frames, and these have to run out to pull back to end of trends, and we have to see an exhaustion sell signal. So I know that I'm kind of looking for this support to kind of come in at some point, but when we're starting to look down at these lower time frames, that is not good news. So that's the 135-minute chart. We're seeing kind of a similar thing on the 45-minute chart. Here we're starting to make pullback to end of trend, but we've still got to put in pullback to end of trend on the intermediate time frame because we're well below that, and we'll probably have to put in pullback to end of trend on the highest time frame here because we're well below the support on the highest time frame. And again, down at these lows, kind of down here, that flush pattern is just playing off this exhaustion pattern, which effectively was getting the move going. So talk about these kind of mirroring amounts of exhaustion volume on the downside. If that's what's kind of getting the move going, selling it down, it needs to be picked up on the other side, and better momentum on the 45-minute chart is just neutral at the moment, pretty close to the zero level. So we've got to go see a level like this to kind of clear everybody out and get that exhaustion pattern in. So 15-minute chart here again, we look at better momentum. You know, this week was kind of up and down and up and down, and we kind of closed relatively weak for the week. But again, better momentum at this point here is just playing around the zero line here. The last signal that we had was almost like a short covering rally at this point with this kind of volume. We need to see a similar type reading on the downside. Here, yep, we got pullback to end of trend on the lowest time frame, on the intermediate time frame. So we could on the 15-minute chart kind of move back up till we get resistance where we cross on the highest time frame here, find a resistant level and kind of play down to get those exhaustion patterns there. So that's what's got me kind of concerned, that we've not seen enough damage on the downside to generate those exhaustion sell signals, and on these highest time frames we're still below these supports at these points, and we've not put in pullback to end of trend. So last weekend I was a little bit bullish, thinking that we put in that support, we bounced from here, and we just haven't we haven't been able to find a support at these levels, and it looks like we're going to need to flush everybody out by kind of correcting pretty hard to the downside. Whether that move's going to start on Sunday evening and just kind of waterfall down Monday, Tuesday, or are we going to get a little bit of respite on the 15-minute chart, have a bounce Monday into Tuesday, something like that, and then kind of come down to generate those exhaustion patterns. Who knows? We'll have to kind of play it by ear. So not good for the E-mini at the moment, but on the other side of things, a whole bunch of markets kind of turned around quite dramatically this week. So I'm going to show you that on these tip bar charts here. Let's look at the E-mini on the 13,500 tip bar chart. A whole bunch of signals this week. We were starting to hold at the beginning of the week with some triple bullish signals here. Came into exhaustion buy at this point, had a short signal here into some long signals on Friday, but they just did not hold, and we've kind of continued to crack down. Just as a reference point, the yellow vertical lines here are marking the beginning and the end of the week, so you can see what's kind of happened during this whole week. There were good trading opportunities kind of throughout the week because we had kind of good ranges and good bounces and so on, but at the end of the week we've kind of ended up pretty weak, and these last long signals didn't work out, and we're kind of going to go find new levels on the way down to trigger those supports. These are the markets that were kind of interesting to me. So first of all, crude. Beginning of the week we had 3 triple signals kind of go off, and we kind of rallied from the 76 area up until 82, and now we've come down to blue professional bars at the end of the day on Friday here, and that's kind of a little bit of a stair-step trade. We haven't had exhaustion buy at these highs. We've not had blue professional bars at the highs. What we've had is exhaustion sell at this point, so we've cleared out quite a lot of traders, and the professionals have stepped in and stair-stepped our better pro-am trailing stop behind those price bars. So that's kind of good. So we look like crude is in a rallying phase. based off those triple signals and that little stair step that we've got going on here. Natural gas, again, similarly down at the bottom here. So last week's activity was continuation of the triple short signals that we had, kept on going down. Exhaustion sells. Blue professional bars kind of come in at the lows down here at 670, and we're basing and basing. Triple signals kind of going off here at the lows. We just need to get out of this kind of congestion zone and get properly above $7 to show that we're going to rally in natural gas. Then copper. Copper has not been doing anything for a long time, the last 2 or 3 weeks. You can see here no signals at all. But then midweek this week we had a classic. Exhaustion sell, bullish divergence kind of comes in. Blue professional bars at those lows. It's oversold with a background in red, and we get a triple signal there, and a nice little kind of pattern starts to take off. We've not had exhaustion buy on the way up here, so the trend is not over. We've come down to some blue professional bars, so we might see some weakness over the next couple of days, but look for that to catch this week and for this rally to potentially continue. So that's all good on the kind of commodity side of things. Forex was super active this week, so let's look at the euro first of all. Again, classic midweek signal where this kind of caught down at the lows. Exhaustion sell, bullish divergence comes in. Not a whole bunch of blue professional bars at the lows, but they did come in right here on that little dip down. And so oversold obviously because the euro's been hit pretty hard. We were down at 96 and we've rallied from there. Again, no exhaustion buy at the highs, so the trend is not over, and we're just trying to find our feet at the moment. We've kind of come down to these kind of support areas, but let's see if that continues to hold and we break to new highs. So euro is good. British pound, holy hell, this thing was unbelievable. Now I don't know whether we got there was so much activity in the British pound. I'm not sure with the sell-off that we had last week that kind of finished this week whether we got any exhaustion, triple signals at those highs. Doesn't look like it. That one failed and that one failed, but did we get any right at the very high? No, it never kind of finished off with an exhaustion pattern. We just kind of broke into this downtrend and we just could not hold. But anyway, so the pound has just been falling off a cliff. But down here, I think 104 was kind of around the low that it reached. That was a really important low, and we've kind of bounced from there. We bounced all the way up to, I think, about 111 we closed the week at. Let's have a look. Yeah, there we go. 111. Oh, 112. Right. Huge. Anyway, so we did get kind of triple signals here when we bounced off those 104 levels and here, but at this point we actually might, well no, what am I talking about? We've got no blue professional bars at those highs, so better pro-am is miles away. So we're going to be looking for areas of support if this kind of drifts down between 112 and 178, kind of down here, to see where the professionals kind of step in and pick it up, because this trailing stop is miles away and we're not going to get a reversal signal at that point. But it was a huge move in British pound. So that was the pound. Aussie dollar, yep, didn't catch last week. This week that did kind of catch with a triple signal. But at these lows we didn't get blue professional bars. It was kind of a midweek kind of catch up, and I think the Aussie dollar was just catching up to the euro and the British pound and following their moves. It was kind of weak, come back down, blue professional bars, exhaustion sells. So we're still kind of basing and trying to find some support on the Aussie dollar. And Japanese yen. Japanese yen was really tricky this week because we had the intervention last week with the central bank kind of coming in, and that was this huge amount of volatility kind of going. So we've come back down. We have signaled at the end of this week blue professional bars kind of around the lows, but let's see. Obviously the central bank has found a support level that it wants to defend on the Japanese yen, so let's see if that kind of works for them and we kind of start to rally in the Japanese yen. At the moment it's just kind of a bit junky there, super volatile because of the intervention, and then kind of junky here with not much kind of going on. Not particularly interested in trading the Japanese yen because of the intervention there, but you'd be better off with like a euro trade or a British pound trade instead. The other ones that went off were gold and silver. That was interesting this week again. This was this week's activity. Found lows at 1630, blue professional bars at the lows, flush patterns, start oversold with a background in red, triple signals going on here, bang, and a nice kind of move away. Come back down, no blue professional bars at the highs, taking profits. They're kind of picking it up on the retrace here for a little bit of a stair step. That's kind of a ways away from that level, but let's see if that kind of area holds. We continue to break up in gold. Silver, same thing. I was talking about last week that the end of last week's activity, the average trade size in this whole move down was super high, and so this week's activity, no blue professional bars at the lows, but exhaustion, sell, bullish divergence, and we break into an uptrend here. We break above those levels, and we're seemingly following kind of gold at this time, but no blue professional bars yet. Wait for maybe one of those to kind of signal what's going on. If it happens on a retrace on a dip and we see a blue professional or series of blue professional bars kind of come in, that would be an interesting place to kind of pick up silver. So gold and silver was strong. Bitcoin's been moving around in this kind of 2021 to 18 kind of region, backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards. So this is the end of the week. This is this weekend's kind of activity. But let's just go back and find out what happened at the beginning of the week. It was all over the place, super volatile. And I was saying a couple of weeks ago, the 4500 tip bar chart is maybe not the right time frame because of all of this large number of trades kind of going through at the moment. So beginning of the week, we come down to exhaustion, sell, bullish divergence, flush patterns, super kind of volatile. Blue professional bars kind of step in. We get a triple signal, bang. Even with all of that noise kind of going on, we do get a triple signal. Then classic kind of overshoots, kind of 20,000 and a bit. Blue professional bars, exhaustion buy, bearish divergence, overbought, bang, crashes down. There's our signal right at the beginning of that move, which is nice. We do have another signal here, long, but it's kind of miles away from the activity, and there's no blue professional bars at the lows, so not a particularly good looking signal there. And then into the weekend's kind of activity, we've got a bearish signal there, and it's kind of weakening at the moment. Again, blue professional bars similar to this, exhaustion buy, bearish divergence comes in late. That one was nicely placed right after, but this one happened a little bit later, and that's why the signal has generated there. So Bitcoin's kind of looking weak at the moment, but gold and silver looking strong for the week. We've gone through the commodities. Let's look at the ags. Yep, signals long, although it's super volatile in corn and soybeans as well. So beginning of the week we have long signals here, exhaustion, sell. We finally kind of crack higher, but then Friday's activity, look at this, just a huge kind of move down after exhaustion buy and blue professional bars kind of coming in. Soybeans, I think we had a similar kind of almost like a waterfall pattern here on Friday, which is kind of interesting. No signals here, but you can see this is the only reason this one wouldn't have signaled is because the overbought activity is so far away here with the background in grey, but it's still exhaustion buy, bearish divergence, then blue professional bars into the highs, the low of the trailing stop gets broken, bang, and we kind of come down into this downtrend. That's showing the exhaustion sell getting the move going. That's showing almost the end of the move in terms of exhaustion sell, but no blue professional bars at the lows. This one was playing this down, so that's a stair step down where we kind of come in, blue professional bars, bang, kind of sell it down again. So we're going to have to spend some time kind of basing before soybeans is ready to bounce. And then wheat, don't know what was going on with wheat. Yeah, we had weakness last week, led to this, and then kind of we're back up again with exhaustion buy and an exhaustion sell signal there, showing people were anxious to get out. So I don't think the activities are particularly in the ags this week. What's interesting is crude and natural gas, gold and silver, euro and British pound. And then let's look at the 10 years this week's activity. So exhaustion, we didn't get an exhaustion pattern down at the lows here. Some blue professional bars, it's oversold but no exhaustion sell. We race away, come back up to the highs, and we get a triple signal here. We test to those highs and we're down again. So bonds are looking weak at this point there, and we're going to have to go see, oversold, exhaustion sell, blue professional bars at the lows. So bonds are weak. So there we go. That's a rip around the charts. Finding myself not particularly kind of positive about the markets. I'm just worried about Monday, Tuesday, and it's kind of generating those exhaustion sell signals that I was talking about on the 45-minute and 135-minute chart. I'm just wondering what that's going to do in terms of the pain that's going to be felt in order to get that kind of exhaustion patterns down there. But once that kind of comes in, maybe that's a good thing, kind of clears everybody out, and then we are able to have a rallying phase at this point. But as I said, there's nothing on those charts which is kind of leading me to be particularly positive at the moment, whereas I think I was a little bit more positive last week, thinking this would catch, this area would catch, and that we would it would start another kind of rally phase. But we're starting to just break these levels, and that's kind of not good. Anyway, so we go. There's the weekend futures market recap. Hope your trading is going well, and hope everybody's looking forward to next week's trade.